Greetings and salutations, travelers of the internet, and welcome to the Lit Round Table. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Anna, and we'll be your wise or not so wise mentors for today's audio adventure into all things storytelling.
21.
21. Legal drinking age.
Season 2 is old enough to drink. Yeah.
Here we are. We should have had wine this
Yay.
episode. Ooh, it would have been appropriate because we're talking about House of the Dragon. And I
have mead.
Ooh, that's even better. I heard about your discovery of mead at the Ren Fair in southern Texas. And I'm very jealous.
It's good.
And I would like to start a petition that only needs my signature that you bring some for Christmas this year.
Okay. That's very doable.
Okay.
It's like, I think it technically, I don't know if it technically counts as wine. Like if it's like a sub category.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, it's like, if you don't know what mead is, it's like fermented honey.
Wine.
And, fermented like honey wine with sometimes other flavors added in, like usually kind of fruity flavors, sometimes not.
Yeah.
But, it's been a great time. And the one that we had at the Ren Fair the most was like Thorin something. So it's like named after Thorin.
Aww.
And, well, maybe not necessarily like from The Hobbit, but, you know.
But close enough.
It's like a very fitting Viking named thing.
Sure.
We were recommended one by someone at the Ren Fair called Viking Blood in that one, but it's like BLO umlaut D, so blood. So we did try that one, and it was more expensive. I think Hope and I just have trash taste in alcohol because it tasted expensive, but it was also more alcoholic, and there was hops added to that one, so it was just very like it had the mead taste, but then it was very alcoholic and very hoppy, which I'm not it kind of ruined that. So we went back to the other stuff. Went back to Thorin.
Nice.
And it's smooth sailing.
Well, that's exciting. I didn't know
Goes down smooth.
I didn't know that this episode was going to have a small lesson in mead, but that's okay.
Sponsored by
No.
No. No, but that was very delicious.
Nice.
So, we'll have to bring some for Christmas when we come up there.
Whenever that is.
That'd be fun.
It would be really fun.
At some point.
Yeah.
January, February, sometime in there. So.
Hopefully before Hope's birthday.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about House of the Dragon. We're going to be unpacking that a little bit, which would be great. We've alluded to it, mentioned it. We actually have talked about it quite a bit, but it generally hits the cutting room floor because we have a lot of other stuff to talk about. So, anyhow, and exciting announcement, our new read-along number 6 starts next week. And we are reading Red Seas Under Red Skies by Scott Lynch. So this is the second book in the Gentleman Bastard series. The first book, Lies of Locke Lamora. So excited to be getting back into the world.
Me too. I'm super pumped. I cannot wait to start reading it. I'm going to use one of my Audible credits to get the audiobook.
Nice.
It's going to be awesome.
Very
I'm so
good.
pumped.
Yeah. So for next week, you'll want to read the prologue, which is very short, and chapter 1.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
Love that for us.
Me too. I'm pumped. I went through and put all my sticky notes in it, so I know where to stop.
Nice.
I'm ready.
Pumped.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, before we get into the main event today, Joseph, tell me, what are you watching, reading, playing?
All right. So, we're going to start with playing. D&D, still. Progress has been made. We are now a member of a group of kind of anti-dragon cult people.
Oh.
And we are sailing to, what's it called? Baldur's Gate which is also the name of like a video game franchise that's set in the D&D world. So, but that's where we're going.
Cool.
To try to infiltrate a caravan of dragon cultists.
Everybody,
it'll be interesting.
I'm sure everybody wants to know, do you still have a dragon egg?
Yeah.
Okay.
We do.
How is that going?
I think life would be so much easier if we didn't. But we do.
I'm very invested in this dragon egg. Especially since Fizzban told you to knock it off. You still didn't.
Well, Fizzban also, that conversation happened when everyone else was asleep except for him and the other character.
Oh.
And when Thrill, the other character, woke up, they also had no memory of it happening. So there's like some modified memory shenanigans happening there. But anyway, because Fizzban is powerful.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, we still have a dragon egg. We'll see how that goes. No clue. No clue. I feel like we are... I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen with that.
I'm so excited.
If the dragon hatches, and I feel like it's a coin flip whether or not it treats Thrill as mom, or if it just immediately turns on the party and we have like a young dragon to try to kill.
Aw.
No idea.
Oh.
I'm afraid that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they'll like hatch, or they just won't hatch. Just never hatch. Or
I don't think Thrill will ever emotionally recover if the dragon doesn't
well,
hatch.
but wouldn't that be better than if it hatched and then tried to eat you and you had to kill it? Wouldn't it be better if it just didn't hatch? This is maybe a weird conversation that's bordering on some topics that we don't want to go down.
Yeah. So
sorry.
D&D is a great way to explore the most philosophical of moral quandaries, such as, should I just destroy the dragon egg and blame some other thing?
I don't mean destroy it. Just like, sometimes eggs don't hatch.
Do we have to kill the dragon when it hatches? If it attacks us, what do we do? How will character respond?
It's very possible that you're not able to provide the warmth for the dragon egg that it needs to incubate.
Yeah, that's come up in conversation before too. We have no idea what we're doing, so we'll see what happens.
I was very passionate about that, and I bumped my microphone, so which you probably heard. Anyway, sorry.
It's fine. No worries. So, anyway, D&D. I've also been playing a lot of Cyberpunk 2077, which has been really fun. That, coupled with one of the shows I'm watching, has been a really fun kind of like futuristic sci-fi cyberpunk journey, which I'll get into when I go into my watching stuff. But, so Cyberpunk, and I watched Hope beat Resident Evil Village.
Nice.
So that I'm going to count it, because I was kind of her guy in the chair. I was her walkthrough puller upper when she encountered a difficult area.
And that's the one with Lady Dimitrescu, right?
Yes. Yes. The big vampire lady.
Yeah.
So I watched Hope beat that, and also played a little bit of Elden Ring. For reading, I finally finished Oathbringer. Good grief.
So are you taking a break from Brando Sando?
No, I'm on the next one. I'm on Rhythm of War.
Okay.
But that is the last Stormlight Archive book that's been published.
Okay.
So
you're
after
close.
this one's over, I'm gonna have to take a break and move on to other storylines.
Are you gonna go back to the Robert Jordan series, or are you gonna move on to something else? What are you thinking?
I may move back to Wheel of Time and just try to wrap those up, which will eventually turn into Brando Sando because he finished that series.
Right.
I can't escape him. But yeah, and maybe start some other stuff, because I've heard really good things about Robin Perry, I think is the name. I've heard good things about them. I think that's a female author, right?
I couldn't say.
I think so. Anyway, so there's other authors, other books to read. We finished Hall of Smoke. We did that, and that was great. Go listen to our finale and wrap-up video if you haven't yet, and you have also finished the book. Here are our final thoughts on that. And I have started Rhythm of War, which I'm only like a few chapters in, but that's been good. Pretty big tonal shift. Like there's a time jump in between the last one and this one, and things are, it has shifted like in a good way. It's nice to see like things evolving in terms of the world building to match the events that happened in the story, like how technology has advanced with the magic system that's been established, and discoveries that they have made about the magic system has had big impacts on like day-to-day life for some of the characters, which is cool to see. And for watching, Rapid Fire Critical Role Campaign 3, which there's a new episode tonight, I think.
Yes,
so I'm excited to watch that. Ghost Files on YouTube, finished that up. They had their season finale last week. And that was fun. Spy Family. Love that show so much. So happy that it's back. My Hero Academia has taken a little bit of a turn. It's a little dark. It's gotten a little... Ooh, boy. It's gotten a little dark. Speaking of dark, Chainsaw Man. Been watching that. Oh, and also reading Chainsaw Man when the new chapters come out on Tuesdays. We finished watching Given, and now we are watching Fate Zero, which we have more of that to watch tonight also.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that. Excited for King Arthur. And I got caught up on Andor, which is the show that has been like my sci-fi cyberpunk journey, with also playing Cyberpunk 2077. It's been a vibe. It's been a good time. I have loved Andor a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Have you caught up on it?
Yeah. I'm behind on just about everything else, but I am caught up on Andor. I have so many thoughts, and I think we're gonna have to have a whole pod on it. Honestly, because I'm like,
there's just been so many shows coming out. We've just had so many dedicated episodes to shows and stuff. But like, hey, it's topical.
Yeah.
But it's such a good show. Like, amazing. Like the inner mechanics of the Empire, like the internal politics with like their own form of like secret police intelligence agency versus the newly forming Rebel Alliance. Seeing like, I never thought I would be watching a show about the family dynamics of Mon Mothma.
Right.
And it's been very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Agreed.
And man, it's just such a cool commentary also on like government overreach and corporate corruption. And it's a great show. I love it.
Save some for the episode.
We'll save it for the pod for the next when we go in depth. But if you haven't started it,
do it.
Hopefully that serves as a good pitch for you to go ahead and start it. So that's it. That's it for me. So
nice.
Hit us with it. What have you been playing, reading, watching?
I will start. I just did an accidental clap. My apologies.
It's fine. No worries.
I will start with what I'm reading or what I have read, because I've read quite a few graphic novels recently. So I checked out from the library the Tea Dragon Society, the Tea Dragon Tapestry, and the Tea Dragon Festival, which are all three in the same. Obviously, they're like a series. I don't think I said them in order. I think I accidentally said number 3 second. Whatever. They're by Kay O'Neill. The art is so cute. They are. They're just adorable, but I really appreciated how intentionally like size inclusive and affirming they were, and like letting the girls bust through gender norms in this fantasy world, and dealing with emotional trauma and dreams dying, and what does it look like to reimagine your life? Some heavy stuff baked into a very cute and well illustrated story. So they're very good.
That sounds lovely.
They were lovely. I also read The Mighty Nine Origins for Caleb Widogast. That was
Speaking of trauma.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Oof.
That went places I wasn't
Emotional
expecting.
damage.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad I can mark that off my list. Again, the art style was very different for that one from Jester and Yasha. It's kind of in between the two. And I like it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And now every time, this is why it was kind of baked into Caleb's character when every time he uses fire magic to kill a humanoid creature, he like goes into shell shock. And
Yeah.
now you know why.
I mean, I knew why because they had revealed
Yeah.
that already in the show. But yeah, now
But you
I
saw
saw it and it was intense. Oof. I also you get to see like him and not meeting for the first time. That was precious. I loved that. Also working on or just starting Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. I don't have
name.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion on it yet because I literally just started it. But it had been recommended on Book Talk by someone who likes cozy fantasies, so I'm hopeful. Still reading Howl's Moving Castle. I'm listening to it, but I keep getting sidetracked by other things. So, and still working on Princess and the Scoundrel by Beth Revis. So that's what I'm reading. Oh, in addition to These Happy Golden Years, which is my little house book that I'm reading. And we finished Hall of Smoke.
Hall of Smoke.
Starting Red Seas Under Red Skies. You know all that. Okay. So for watching.
Here we go. Boom, 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 boom.
Andor. Everything Joseph said and more.
Love it.
Spy Family. I am behind.
Love it.
But it is so good. My Hero Academia. Also behind, but I've read it. So I can imagine what happened this week.
Right. Yeah.
Fate Zero. I know nothing. I'm excited to learn more. Critical Role. I have not watched Campaign 2 in a while. I need to get back into it, but my next thing will explain why I have not been watching it. But
I forgot a show too. Oh, when you're done, I have one more show to add to my list. Sorry. Continue.
Okay, I did see that they're having like a 2-shot, like in a couple weeks, which I was like, if I could get caught up with CR2, I could watch it live. But there's no way I'm gonna get there. So
there's no way you would have to dedicate every waking hour of free time you have to watching it.
Yeah, I have.
I don't think you'd even
I'm
make
so
it.
far behind. I'm so far behind, so that's not gonna happen. But I could maybe get done, so I could watch the second one because that one comes out like a month later. So we'll see. But I am excited.
You'll at least like get to watch, like you'll finish campaign 2 and you'll get to watch the 2-shot thing like immediately after. So
yes,
good for you.
Yes.
You won't have to wait.
Nope, not at all. I did see that Taliesin is playing Kingsley.
Don't spoil anything. Don't look anything up.
And I don't know who
Don't
that
look
is.
anything up. Don't look anything up.
Okay.
I'm imploring you.
Okay.
Don't look up any. Just keep your nose down and keep watching.
Okay, I'm just so sad because I love Caduceus and I just want him to be Caduceus forever.
Oh, just keep your nose down and keep watching. You can't. Yeah, don't read too much into it. Don't read too much into it. But
does Cad
you just
die?
have to finish. I'm not gonna tell you.
No.
anything.
Can you just tell me if Cad dies?
I'm not gonna tell you anything because it'll ruin the stakes of
no.
every fight if you know that everyone makes it out okay.
Oh.
It'll ruin the stakes if I tell you.
Okay. Oh,
I'm not confirming or denying.
I just love Caduceus so much.
It's a neutral answer. Me too. He's one of my favorites.
Okay.
He's part of the reason why I'm playing a Grave Cleric in my actual D&D game.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
Anyway.
Okay, but the reason that I got derailed. So, this is a guilty pleasure that I am a little embarrassed to admit that I've been watching. But when I was in college, TLC was more popular than it is now. And we used to watch TLC all the time. And there was a show on there called Sister Wives, which, if you're not familiar,
oh my gosh.
if you're not familiar, it's a group of fundamentalist Mormons, not part of the Warren Jeffs FLDS group. It's a different breakup, split off from the Mormon Church. But Cody Brown has 4 wives, and this is their story. Blah blah blah. I had watched like the first few seasons as it was airing. We're very close to when it was airing when I was in college. And one of my professors in college actually went to the same high school as Cody. So that's like, I was kind of curious about like that connection. So, and then I kind of forgot it existed. But recently, in the last year, TikTok has decided that I deserve to be on Sister Wife TikTok, which I don't know why. I wasn't engaging in any kind of content that would have like put me there.
Yeah.
But it just reminded me of all the drama. And so Discovery Plus is really cheap. And instead of watching these TikTokers watch it and pause it and talk and watch it and like, because they're watching the newest season that's currently airing.
Yeah.
And there's
It's
like,
still airing?
oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They're on season like 16 or something now. I don't know. But I was like, I'm missing this whole gap from when I stopped watching it, like season 5. And now they're on season 16. I'm missing a whole ton of stuff. Discovery Plus is cheap. It's like $5. So I got Discovery Plus so that I can watch Sister Wives to get caught up on the drama. So that's what I've been doing.
Okay.
See, I told you, I'm embarrassed to admit it.
I was about to say Campaign 2 is a better use of your time. But it's fine.
I totally know that. But you know what? Life has been really stressful.
Yeah. Sometimes
And
it's nice to
Campaign
watch
2
other people's lives and think, at least it's not that messed up.
True
At
story.
least I don't have a TLC show about how messed up my family life is.
True story. Yeah. So anyway, and also like, it takes a lot of time to like sit and scroll through TikToks, and it's like I could just watch the episode and form my own opinions. Except that I don't know anybody in real life who also watches Sister Wives, so there are times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened, but I can't talk to anybody about it because nobody watches it, which is fine. I'm not advocating for watching it unless you need just something that's brainless and
like TV junk food.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
just a little bit of reality. Reality TV, I mean. It's not scripted, I don't believe. It's too it's not scripted. It's really not. It can't be.
Okay.
But anyway. But also we're in November, which means it's NaNoWriMo.
Yeah.
We're on day 3 as of this recording, and would you like to know how many words I've written?
Is it more than 0?
No.
I was trying so hard to read your face, like, if I say 0, will she be mad that I had such little faith in her, or is it like one of those things where it's like, guess how many? 0.
Yeah. No, this week has been so beyond crazy, and I've been so mentally drained.
Yeah.
No, I have not done any writing. Maybe this weekend I'll get caught up. We'll see. I have ideas.
Good. It's awesome.
But I kind of want to start it. I kind of want to do it this year because I don't think I'll be able to do it next year. Because, dear listener, I'm pretty positive I'm starting grad school in January. Again, going back. So, more on that later. But I just know that if I'm in grad school next year, I will for sure not have time to also write a book in November.
Yeah.
So, anyway, now on to the main event.
Yes.
House of the Dragon. You're going to get us copyright.
Can't do too much.
I think that was probably safe.
Do it. Yeah. Just, if you know the theme, know that it should be playing right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay.
Season 1 in the bag.
Yes. And we have to wait 2 years for the next season, which is...
Yeah, it's not... Well, maybe not like a full 2 full years, but it's not coming out next year. So we're for sure going to have to wait over a year.
Yeah. Which is fine.
These shows do take a while to produce, I suppose.
Yes. I briefly want to talk about casting, which I know we've mentioned before, but I just have recently realized that the Alicent casting that they did, so young Alicent and then old Alicent, they look so similar that I almost thought it was the same person. And that they had just done some movie magic to either age her up or age her down.
That one was really good. Yeah, they did a really good... Well, overall it was really good, but that one was especially good.
Agreed. Yeah. I also want to talk about Aemond when he's older. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about.
Pirate Legolas.
I don't think that that's a fair... it actually really bothers me that people keep comparing him to Legolas, or people... I don't know if you've seen...
No, it's pure aesthetics, not in like...
Right. But even aesthetically, Legolas... Orlando Bloom is Legolas. I realize that he has long blonde hair and he's like handsome, but he looks like a cinnamon roll. He is very, like, his face is very round. He has very kind eyes.
Peculiar. It's very pointed and like angular and mean looking.
So angular and so mean that I'm like, the only similarity that I'm seeing here is that they both have long blonde hair.
That's pretty much it.
But otherwise,
it's the hair.
The comparison makes me very uncomfortable because the characters could not be more different from each other.
It's just a funny concept.
Yes. But, so Aemond as a character, I guess I don't have a plan for this episode. I just had a couple things that I wanted to talk about. So if you have a better idea for how to structure this, you let me know.
No, I've got a list of a few things I want to talk about, and maybe we'll match up on a couple. So
okay.
No, let's do it.
So Aemond as a character. When we see him as a little boy, he's the second...
Oh, also, I mean, really, really quick, obviously spoilers for all of season 1 of House of the Dragon. If you haven't watched House of the Dragon and you are planning on watching it, stop a few minutes ago and come back later.
I will for sure, on the graphic for this episode, put a big ol' spoilers ahead.
Good. Okay.
Like I did for Rings of Power and Obi-Wan Kenobi when we did that one. Okay. Aemond as a character. We see him as a little boy. We see him as a baby. I think we see him in utero. Then we see him as a little boy. We have the scene where the other dragon riders tease him by giving him a pig that has wings tied to it because he doesn't have a dragon. It's apparently
the pink dread
became a very deep-seated trauma for him. I'm not saying that being teased as a kid is like not a traumatic thing, but the boy can hold a grudge, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. He sure can.
And then they have this, he claims Vhagar after her rider died. Vhagar's like the oldest dragon currently in Westeros. It's kind of a big deal. She's huge and terrifying.
Yeah.
And he claims her, and then he loses an eye because the other little kids confront him about it. And then there's the whole scene between Alicent and Rhaenyra revolving around... Anyway, my point is, this whole time, this little kid has been observing the adults in his life. And the seemingly most powerful one, or the one who can make the most impact when they enter a room, is Daemon, his uncle. And when we see, Daemon goes through a lot of transitions as a character, as far as like, at first he has really long hair, then he has really short hair because of the one encounter, and then it's starting to grow out. But, and he has like a saunter when he walks, right? Aemond, as he gets older, he's like trying to embody Daemon, I think. I think he's seeing, because they're both second sons, and he has seen him go through the world and like be able to kind of do whatever he wants without a ton of consequences, seemingly. Like, we know as the viewer that there's been consequences, but Aemond as a kid would not necessarily have seen those. And I just think it's fascinating that older Aemond ends up looking so much like younger Daemon looked. and kind of has the
Yeah.
same arrogance about him.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he is trying to emulate Damon, and it's even their names are funny. It's like they just took Damon and switched the D and put the D on the end.
Yeah.
That's it.
You're
Amond
right.
or Damon. So, Amond is they're both complex characters. We see a little bit more as to why Amond is the way he is because we actually see him as a kid getting like picked on for not having a dragon. We don't see any of Damon's like childhood years yet. I mean, maybe
surprised.
we will. I don't feel like we need to, but
I don't think so.
yeah. And it's interesting when you said he's been able to do pretty much whatever he wants without consequence because he's a prince and he's the second son, so he also doesn't have the responsibilities of like becoming the heir or being an heir, even though Aegon also wasn't really an heir, but his mom just kept poisoning his mind with the idea that you should be king.
Even though he clearly does not want to be king.
Yeah.
And should not be king.
But Aemond does, though. He's like, I've been spending all this time training. I'm the one studying histories. I'm the one that rides the largest and most powerful dragon in the world. I should be the king. And so it's just he is a really interesting character. And again, with the consequences thing, I think we have finally encountered an action that will definitely have consequences.
Oh, yeah.
In that him and Luke both lost control of their dragons, and one of them died. So,
yeah, which
that's
that was so heartbreaking. That whole episode, like I knew that was coming for Luke because it's hard to avoid
spoilers.
All the spoilers. But I didn't anticipate that Aemond lost control of Vhagar. Or that Luke had lost control of, what was his dragon's name?
Arax.
Yeah.
And that's something the show has taken liberty with because the book that is based on Fire and Blood is like a recounting that it's supposed to be like an in-universe book that maesters have written recounting the events from multiple different sources and stuff. So even there's like several different ways that the maester writes that it, like, here's the rumors about this. Some say that he survived the fall and lived the rest of his life as a fisherman, not remembering his life. Some say he got swallowed whole. Some say that, like, Aemond recovered his body and, like, plucked out his eyes and, like, mailed him back home. And, all this stuff. So the show is, like, them picking what they think happened. So the book that is based on doesn't say they lost control of the dragons.
Right.
But I think that it's cool because it echoes back to the conversation Viserys had with Rhaenyra about how, like, we should have never gotten involved with the dragons. Like, we're playing with powers that men don't understand. We shouldn't have ever messed with them. And now, because at the end of the day, dragons are going to do what dragons want to do.
Right.
We don't have any actual control over them. Right.
And he also made a point of saying that the only reason that we, the Targaryens, have power is because of the dragons.
Yeah.
And that, like, the Targaryens have this belief that they're closer to gods, but it's only because of their dragons. Without the dragons, they're nothing.
Which is what ends up happening. The dragons all die out, and then they are usurped by another house. Yeah. Because there ain't no dragons to keep the people in line. So
yeah. Now, I will say, it's my understanding that George R. R. Martin actually did the writing on the last episode, which includes the dragons. So I'm taking that as a pretty, like,
that's cool.
Firm confirmation that that's probably what happened. Because really, Aemond and Luke are both boys. I know that Aemond's actor looks much older than the 15 he's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they are both boys.
Yes. And I think Aemond genuinely didn't want Luke to be harmed. I think maybe just slightly maimed. Definitely not killed. Like, there was genuine regret and, like, what just happened watching. Oh, it was so sad. Like, Arax's remains falling from the sky. That was so sad. Yeah, that was a tough scene. But he had genuine remorse. So I think he's just kind of like, I just kicked this war off and killed my nephew on accident.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What a great day to have.
So bad.
Man. Crazy. So, yeah, Aemond. What a character.
Were you expecting when he took the eye patch off for him to have like a sapphire for an eye?
No. I saw, because it got spoiled for me, I saw that there was like a blue thing. I thought that it was like an incomplete visual effect, like behind the scenes shot, like how they do green screen on people's faces.
Yeah,
If it's going to be like a super messed up, like
Mm-hmm.
I thought that there was going to be some kind of weird like gore thing, like he had a contact in, a blue contact, so they could replace it later. And then it turns out no, he just has a blue sapphire eye.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, so no,
It
like
struck me as odd.
yeah, like so to answer your question, yes and no. Like I knew I did, but I didn't know that I did.
Okay.
Yeah, but also that whole interaction was odd to me because like earlier in the show when his mom said, "I want you to cut out the kid's eye that did this so that they're even, like eye for an eye." And Aemond himself says, "It's all right, Mom. I lost an eye, but I gained a dragon. It's a fair trade."
Right.
But now he comes back in like however many years later, like, "You owe a debt, nephew. Cut out your eye." And it's like, boy, you said that that was an even exchange. Shut up. Like,
Yeah, that was.
come on.
Yeah, that was confusing because they also had the exchange at the table, where he makes the comment about the kid being a strong boy.
Yeah. Strong boys. Yeah.
Which, like, that's a slight that they've been dealing with their whole lives.
Yep.
But I don't know. It just was like, we just really like to dig up old hatchets. We're back to the grudge thing.
And you just watched Damon cut someone's head in half for saying that. Like,
Right.
a few hours ago, and you're going to pull that card now?
Right. And
Brave.
and not like someone that Damon didn't know. It was his dead wife's uncle.
Yeah.
A family
Yeah.
member.
A pretty important person.
Yes.
Like the brother of the ruler of one of the most powerful houses in the kingdom. So,
Yeah.
no, that's not a small deal. So, what else was on your list for things?
Well, man, so much happens. Why don't we do one of yours since we just did mine?
Sure.
One of mine.
So a good segue into that would be Matt Smith and the Rogue Prince, and how he's taken the internet by storm. Everyone loves Matt Smith anyway, and then the one time I feel like he was cast as like a gray complex character that like has good moments and also really bad moments, and everyone like loves him no matter what. Like it is kind of fascinating to watch because I definitely see him as like a loose cannon that will do pretty much whatever he wants, and sometimes it's really good for people and sometimes it's really bad. I'm like, guys, he murdered his wife. He straight up murdered his wife, like in cold blood.
His first wife. Yeah.
His first wife, and then just like seized her assets as his because he was her husband, and also there was so much drama with him in the early episodes of him like starting the Gold Cloaks, which is the City Watch, which are around forever after that, and like he just goes on a rampage, like cutting out tongues and like killing people, like in the city for crimes committed, supposed alleged crimes committed, and it's just like he's not a good person. I think he does good things sometimes, but he's definitely not a good person. I don't think George R. Martin likes writing good people, to be honest with you. If interview footage I've seen of him is any indication, the only good ones are the Starks, and they end up dying usually. But, so yeah, it's interesting to see the internet's reaction to Damon, because he's kind of what's the word? The Wonder Child, like, can do no wrong. Even he like chokes Rhaenyra in the last episode, and a lot of people, a lot of the things that I have seen, are people watched that happen and thought that it was like some kind of I'm just gonna say the internet's thirsty. Okay, the internet is depraved.
And they thought it was like some kind of kink.
Yeah, they thought that it was a sexy moment, like oh, and I'm just like, oh guys, no, that's not. That was like I feel like that was like people are watching that and kind of wanting it to be that kind of thing, but I'm like, that was definitely like an abuser move, like a control. Because that whole episode too, he had been trying to kind of take control of the situation and of their military forces to organize against the Greens taking the throne, and he was kind of like doing some out of pocket stuff that Rhaenyra probably wanted him to wait on at least. So anyway, that just read to me like he wants control and he's trying to take control, and it was gross. So anyway.
Yeah. No, so much of what you said resonates. He is a fascinating character. I do think it's funny that the director of the show was like, I don't know, he's not a good guy. I don't know why people are so into him. I'm like, it's Matt Smith. If it was somebody else, they probably wouldn't be. But there's just something about Matt Smith that's so enchanting.
Because all the people that were like on Tumblr for the Super Wholock phase and during like the Matt Smith reign of Doctor Who and just like love Matt Smith are now watching this show. And you've got all the old Doctor Who fans watching, and also like The Crown. His character in The Crown is really I think for the most part is a really endearing character or person.
Well, he plays Prince Philip, and Prince Philip meaning Queen Elizabeth's husband.
All of the scenes that I've seen on like the internet have been really fun things with that person, but I haven't seen if there's any like dark moments, but
it's very complex. But nothing like this.
Yeah, nothing like this. Nothing like marrying your niece.
No.
Yeah.
No. So, but okay. He does have a very interesting story arc. He starts out, we know he's very unhappily married. It was an arranged marriage. He doesn't like her.
Even though she's so cool.
She is so cool.
Oh my goodness. I wanted more of her.
Agreed.
She was so cool.
But he clearly had a thing for Rhaenyra, like the whole time, which is weird and...
Yes. Gross.
Gross.
She's a 14.
Yeah. And
his niece.
Yeah. I don't remember how much of this you've cut out from the other conversation we had about it.
I cut out a lot of it.
Just...
Nobody here advocates for incestuous relationships.
Not at all.
Regardless of the time frame.
No, not at all.
Yeah. The Targaryens are whack.
Targaryen, but it was something that they did. So
in this fantasy world that came out of someone's mind.
Yeah.
Didn't have to be that way, but George decided to make it so. Anyway.
Well, it's interesting because it's playing on the concept that a lot of royal houses, like in our world, did believe in keeping bloodlines pure. It's just that, which is, racist and garbage. But
it's elitist.
Well, elitist for sure. Racist
at a minimum, it's elitist
and nationalist, and it's a mess. Anyway, so, and then he ends up marrying a Valyrian, and has 2 beautiful daughters, and loses that wife in childbirth, which was devastating. And I know they cut some scenes of him comforting his daughters, which makes me angry because that would have been like we know he's a morally great character. Let us see some more of the light side because we see a lot of his dark side.
Yeah. I don't know how true it is, but I have seen some things online of how the showrunners intentionally cut those scenes out because they didn't like how popular he was with the fan base and how much people liked him. They wanted him to be more unlikable, so they cut them out.
Do you think that they were really still editing the show, like as it was airing? You think so?
I'm sure they were doing final tweaks.
Oh. Maybe. Yeah.
I mean,
I guess it was.
If in the last season of Game of Thrones they went in and took out a coffee cup, so like they can.
But that was.
They can edit. They can edit things after it's already been uploaded.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, so like they took things out, and then when they have her funeral, and Rhaenyra's there as an adult with children, it's pretty clear that they do honestly love each other, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, in that last episode, we see they've been married, which the Targaryen wedding scene, even though it's weird that they're uncle and niece, was aesthetically really cool.
Yeah. It was definitely more ritualistic
Yeah.
than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is also before the faith of the Seven becomes really prevalent in Westeros, I think. And I feel like that was like an old school Targaryen wedding, and then the weddings that we see later on, because we see like flashbacks of like Rhaegar and Lyanna Stark getting married in secret, and there was like a maester there, but they were all both dressed super pretty. But in like this Targaryen wedding between Daemon and Rhaenyra, it was very like it looked very pagan compared to the things that we have seen. So I thought that was interesting too.
It was cool. And then they like have a bunch of kids. And in the last episode, their daughter is stillborn very early. And he is not present through that ordeal, which was frustrating. But I do think that he was concerned that if he was there, the same thing would happen to Rhaenyra that happened to his second wife.
He thought he was cursed or something.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think he was definitely doing, like I said, some off the cuff stuff that he should have waited for her. But at the same time, if he hadn't been there to like help organize people and make decisions, I feel like that would have kind of hurt. Basically, that premature stillbirth was at a very inopportune time. I know it's never an opportune time for that to happen, but like that was a bad time because that was the time when they really needed strong leadership from the person who was at the head, which would have been her, and then she was bedridden. So
well, and
I think
the stress of that induced that for her. Yeah. But yeah, he was trying to be that. He was trying to be in her place because he couldn't actually take labor from her.
Yeah,
he couldn't do that.
That was the way.
So this is what he could do.
That's the way that he could help.
Yeah.
And once she was better, he had like fully accurate, planned out like strategies to present. And he was like, "This is how many dragons we have. This is how many dragons they have. This is how many soldiers we have. Here's a strategy. Here's a strategy. Here's a strategy."
Yeah.
So like he was working for sure. He could have pumped the brakes a little bit, but
yeah. Exactly. And when they have the funeral for their baby, he was right by her side, and then he crowned her in front of everyone. He didn't hesitate to do that. And I read an interview between Emma Darcy and someone about that scene where he chokes her. And one of the questions was, is this something that is common in their relationship, this kind of violent aggression? Not in a sexual way, just like, do you think that Daemon has abused her previously? And if I recall correctly, they said that no, that Emma and Matt were very thoughtful about this scene and what it would mean for the characters and how it would be portrayed. And it is an act of violence against her. But in that moment, she also realizes that she has an upper hand on him because she knows things that no one ever told him. So it's kind of a revelation for her too.
And for him.
And for him.
Because the thing is, what that also revealed was that Viserys never viewed Daemon as his true heir.
Right.
Even when he was on paper, he was always holding out until he had a son born that he could pass that knowledge on to. Like, he didn't want Daemon to have that knowledge.
Right. And he only passed it on to Rhaenyra, which explains why when Viserys says some of that prophecy stuff to Alicent, she's very confused because that's the first time she's ever heard it. She doesn't know. Yeah.
People need to stop naming their kids Aegon.
Oh, for real. What a terrible name anyway.
Goodness sake. So Matt Smith's character as Daemon Targaryen is very complex, and I think it's entertaining. I mean, it's well played, and Matt's is an outstanding actor, and he's doing a great job.
An incredibly thoughtful actor.
Yes.
Some of the best scenes were improvised by him and the other actors. Like the Viserys crown moment, that was improvised, which is just phenomenal.
Yeah. Really quick too. Yeah, no, sorry, continue.
And the scene where Daemon comes in and tells Rhaenyra about Luke, that was also something that he had improvised, or like that he had pushed for, that he really wanted it to be that way. And I think that that's incredible. But after seeing them at such odds together, to have him come and deliver that news in like the softest way possible. I mean, we don't hear it, but oh my gosh.
The reaction when she turns around.
Murder in those eyes.
Fire and blood, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Dance of the Dragons.
Yeah.
Oh, man. She's going with Scorched Earth now.
I just got like goosebumps thinking about it.
He killed her boy. Really quick, what do you think your top 3 moments of the first season were? Ooh. Like your top 3 favorite moments. I can start with mine if you want to think about yours.
Well, one of my favorite moments, maybe we could go 1 and 1. So I'll do 1.
Sure. So let's start at the bottom.
Oh.
Like save the best for last.
Oh, I don't know if I have them in that kind of order.
Okay.
I'm going to start with young Rhaenyra when she comes back from killing the boar, and that walk down the like common way, and she just got blood all over her, and she is so like she doesn't care what anyone thinks. She's like on a mission. I thought that was a cool scene.
Oh, my turn, right? We're going back and forth. I'm going to go with Daemon Targaryen taking out the crab feeder.
Ooh. Yeah. That was good.
When he kind of goes nuts because of Viserys is like, "Oh, it looks like you're having trouble over there. I'm going to come help you out." And then he goes ballistic and just like solos this entire group of people. Anyway, that was a very exciting moment. And I feel like really important for Daemon as a character. We kind of understood more about him and why he does what he does. He's like, I don't want your approval. I don't want your pity. I'm going to fix this myself, and I'm going to do it. And then he did it. And yeah, it was really cool. So.
I would say that the scene where Aemond claims Vhagar would have been cool, but I couldn't see it.
Roasted.
So I assume it was cool. Certainly a cool moment for that character.
They need to stop that.
I know, it's so bad.
And they're not the only franchise that does it though. TV in general needs to stop with these overly dark episodes and then quit saying that it was intentional for like dramatic effect. Like, I don't care. I can't see it. There's ways to light scenes to make it visible if it's nighttime.
If I can have Helm's Deep in the middle of the night in the rain and I could see clear as day what was happening, and that was from a movie in 2002, then they can figure out how to light a scene in a TV show in 2022.
Because it wasn't supposed to be a horror movie moment.
No.
You keep it that dark if it's a horror movie and you want the darkness to be an adversary for like the character and the audience. This was supposed to be a How to Train Your Dragon moment of like claiming the dragon. Like it's supposed to be super epic and cool and no one could see it. Anyway, so for my next moment, I'm going to pick when Vhagar takes out Luke and Arax. That was...
I mean, yeah.
As, like, whoa. It was, well, one, it's like a car crash that you just can't stop watching. Just the morbid curiosity. And, like, it was like just a Jaws moment, you know? Just that whole chase scene with the dragons flying through the storm and then the climax with Vhagar coming out of the clouds and chomping was, like, the whole scene was just had me on the edge of my couch. Like I was so like white knuckling it that whole time.
Yes. That was a great moment. I would like to change my second one.
Okay.
It's kind of a tongue in cheek. I think that would have been a cool moment if I could have seen it, but since I couldn't see it. And instead I'm going to say the moment in the courtroom when Otto Hightower is standing in for Viserys, and then Viserys comes in. Oh my gosh. And his walk down the throne room. He declined the milk of the poppy that day and got himself to work, and man did he work. That whole scene was great.
That is my number one.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
no,
so
fine.
that leading into Daemon defending Rhaenyra and cutting off that guy's head.
Yeah, cutting his head in half. Yeah. That whole scene when the doors, because I was just like, oh, this is dirty. This is such dirty pool. You guys are coming in here. You think you can run this place because the king is bedridden and sick. And Otto, get off that throne. You don't belong there. I'm so mad at you. Also, you were fired before. Why are you still here? There was so many emotions. Just so angry at the whole Hightower group, at all of the Greens, and then the doors open and the guy says, King Viserys Targaryen, first of his name, and he's clinking his way with his cane, and I was like, oh, I was cheering for this old decrepit man, and then he's just climbing those stairs, and it's a struggle. His crown falls off, and Daemon comes in and picks it up, like you said, with that improvised moment, and helps his brother sit on the throne, which is such a cool moment because the whole time you feel like Daemon has been secretly wanting to backstab him and take the throne for himself, but he was there when his brother needed him most, at his most vulnerable state, because that's what he said in the beginning too. Oh, I just thought of this when they were fighting about why haven't you ever made me hand to the king? I only want to protect you. I would protect you from all the people that are trying to harm you. I see Otto Hightower for who he really is.
Which facts.
Yep. For sure. And then it's that was his moment where he was like, you see, I'm trying to protect you. Here's your crown. I'm going to help you sit on your throne. And that whole
then that
scene.
Just leading into the Valerians claiming that Rhaenyra's kids are not legitimate, which clearly they're not, but
yeah, specifically Corlys. No, not Corlys. He's the head
his
one.
brother.
Specifically his younger brother. Saying that his children are bastards, and that she's promiscuous and all this stuff.
And
oh man,
and just
that's my favorite scene.
Yeah, and Daemon defending Rhaenyra's honor and the honor of the Targaryens, because she's also the heir to the throne and whatever.
Yeah.
That whole scene, so good. So I'm gonna say that's my number 2. Would you like to say your number?
And also,
which was your number? Which you said was your number 1 moment.
Yes. Also, Aemon's reaction to Daemon cutting that guy's head in half was very whoa, he can do that? Wow. He was so enamored by.
Yeah.
It's oh my gosh, dude, just.
Yeah.
We get it. You idolize him. You wish that you could cut people's heads off. Stop being weird.
He's so weird. He's so terrible.
I could talk about that scene for the entire day. So what's your number 1 scene?
It's Rhaenys coming up on Melis. In the where was that? I'm out of the dragon pit. She comes up in the High Sept, I think. Which, controversial because she busts through the floor and kills a ton of common folk.
Innocent people, yeah.
That, had nothing to do with any of this. And who were shut in to the High Sept, which is just, a safety manager's nightmare.
Yeah. I had heard a theory that since Otto was screaming at them to open the gates to, let people out, and they were trying to close them, I had heard someone say that was some of the gold cloaks that were loyal to Daemon that were trying to trap them in so the dragon could kill them.
That's horrible. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
And then she has the moment when she's on Melis in front of the newly crowned Aegon, who is a terrible human being. And she could have just ended it all there.
Yeah.
but she didn't.
Yeah.
Which I found super frustrating in the moment, but I've since seen explanations of like, if she would have done that, it would have started a war. It was not hers to start. And it also would have made like the Valerian, it would have decided what side the Valerians were on, and that was not a choice that she could make without Lord Corlys if he was still alive, which turns out he was, so that was good. And that the whole last episode when she's like hanging out with Rhaenyra and everyone else is bowing to her and she doesn't, it's because Corlys hadn't arrived to like make a decision on where they stood yet. So it wasn't that she was trying to be irreverent. It was just, it wasn't her place to make that call. And no one else seemed to question that. So like, that makes sense.
I think she is also kind of living vicariously through
Yes.
Rhaenyra a little bit right now. She's like, yes, Queen Slay. Like,
Yeah.
girl boss for me, because I never got to.
Yeah.
I should have been, but I wasn't. So I'm going to
Yeah.
watch you girl boss for me.
Yeah. But that whole moment of her coming out of the floor was really cool.
Very cool. I would almost consider swapping out my third place for that. Maybe they can tie. But that one, at bare minimum, honorable mention. That was a very... and seeing her in, like, the Dragon Rider get up with, like, her armor and stuff, and she just looks so proud on top of that dragon. Her dragon looks cool, too, like all the spikes coming out of its face and stuff. Super cool. But just that defiant scream or roar that the dragon lets out in all their faces. Yeah. So cool.
So cool.
I hope Kristen Cole crapped his pants. 'Cause
Okay.
I hate him.
I was going to say, let's talk about things we hate. Number 1, Sir Kristen Cole.
And man, talk about a twist, because everyone liked him in the beginning. People liked him a lot. Because in the beginning, Daemon was much more of an unlikable character in the first couple episodes. But then he kind of turned around. And then Kristen Cole was a really likable character in the first couple episodes. And then, man, he went from one of the most liked to most hated people so quickly. Oh, what a jerk.
Do not understand how he still has a job.
Yeah.
Like, I do not understand. So, Rhaenyra's wedding to Laenor, he murders...
He freaks out.
Joffrey.
He freaks out and kills someone.
Nobody knows why. I mean, we know why. But, like, nobody around knows why he did that. He just did it. And then which is because of a lover's tryst or whatever.
Yeah.
And Joffrey was trying to proposition him in a sense. Not whatever. But Joffrey was
trying to establish an understanding.
Yes. And he was running his mouth where he shouldn't have. But he genuinely thought he was making an ally. Which was wrong. Clearly. So he ends up super dead. And then Sir Cole is going to end it for himself in front of the god tree. And Alicent stops him. And from that point on, he's like her little puppy dog. And just does whatever she says. So...
It's weird.
I get it, but I don't get it. I don't know how he...
And he also killed a man on the small council.
Okay, so I'm getting to that. So that happened. He killed Joffrey, and then he becomes Alicent's right-hand man, right? Okay, so the queen, like, petitioned to keep him as her guardian, whatever. But then the small council thing happens, and he just straight up murders someone there. An old man.
Yeah.
Because he was in opposition to the Greens. And... Which I suppose, because everyone was on his side, more or less, that was allowed to stand. But real shady. Graham McTavish playing the Lord Commander.
I was about to say, shout out to Graham McTavish for his outstanding performance.
Oh my gosh.
As a excellent Lord Commander of the King's Guard.
Yes.
And his refusal to go along with their backstabby schemes.
Yes. My only hope is that he shows up in season 2 on Rhaenyra's side.
Yeah, I hope he makes it to Dragon Mountain, that they can team up.
Because he's a fantastic actor. I love him. He's great.
What are some things that you're excited for potentially in season 2 besides that? Besides Graham McTavish being on Rhaenyra's side.
Well, if he even is. I mean, I know that
Yeah.
that character is, but I don't know if he'll ever come back. But
Yeah.
well, I really hope that Sir Cole meets his end in season 2.
Yeah. One can only hope.
Man, what am I looking forward to?
I guess I'll say what I'm looking forward to the most is to see some more Starks again.
Yes, because they should be coming.
Super excited. I have seen some lore spoilers for the main Stark guy. I'm very excited.
That would be cool.
I'm very excited about this new Stark, the new Lord of Winterfell that we will get to meet.
I'm kind of excited to see Rhaenyra go full Mama Bear mode, which I think is essentially what we're entering into.
Yeah.
Because now that you've messed with her kids, she's not going to relent.
It's like, I was trying to be diplomatic about this, and you killed one of my kids. Good job.
So now
I have more dragons than you, and I'm going to turn King's Landing into glass.
Yeah. I've heard that one of Daemon's daughters is particularly fantastic on her dragon.
Oh.
I don't know which one. I can't remember their names.
Well,
but
one of them, I think, is dragonless still right now. Because she was supposed to have Vhagar.
You're right. So whichever one has a dragon, I've heard that she's particularly amazing. So I hope we get to see that. Yeah. I also saw spoilers about what Daemon does with a certain someone and on a dragon, and I don't know. I don't know what season that happens in, but I'm looking forward to that very much.
That'll be epic for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know anything else about it spoiled me through fan art.
TikTok for me.
It was a fan art, and then I was like, oh, that's cool fan art, but dang it.
You know what? It's funny because I see all these TikToks and they'll be like, if you don't want spoilers for House of the Dragon, scroll on, and I've just decided I don't care. Spoil it for me.
Yeah, no.
Because it's still gonna look cool.
That's the same way I was for Game of Thrones. I mean, the Red Wedding, I knew that it was a thing that happened and that it would be really bad for the Starks, but I didn't know to what extent. But all the stuff about after the Red Wedding, I had to look up when Joffrey died.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I don't care as much about Game of Thrones spoilers personally, but
same.
I don't know why that is. My brain is just who cares?
You know, I think it's because I read the first 2 books and I've kind of decided that there's no hope for me to get caught up.
That's fair.
Maybe someday I'll finish reading them, but and also I think that the way that the last season of Game of Thrones was absolutely rubbish.
Yeah.
It's just made me feel kind of apathetic towards it.
But what a revival, though, with this first season of House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Well done to the showrunners for this one, because you can tell they really put their heart and soul into it, and you could tell with the last few seasons of Game of Thrones that the showrunners were just really trying to get it over with.
Yeah.
They just wanted to move on. But no, it seems like the show has been really, really good so far.
Yeah, agreed. Did I see that there's going to be a Jon Snow show?
I have heard that. Yeah, and I can't help but think that it is an attempt to
correct the end of Game of Thrones.
Course correct. Yeah, the ending for Game of Thrones. If it takes place after the events of season 8 of Game of Thrones, I feel like it has to be just course correction of them trying to recover, because it was just the whole Prince That Was Promised stuff was just so mishandled, and Arya being the one that kills the Night King was just, I mean, it was a cool moment in the moment, but especially with the House of the Dragon stuff leading up to this prophecy of someone coming from the House of Targaryen that would prevent which it was Arya that did it, and she's Stark through and through, so there's
right,
it was with the dagger anyway.
But the prophecy was all about Aegon, which is revealed to have been Jon Snow.
Yeah, and he got brought back to life.
Yeah,
He's sort of the messianic figure of the
of sorts.
Yeah, I mean, comes back to life to save the world is basically what his character is, and then his little sister does it. It's just
Well, she defeats the Night King. I suppose he defeats Dany, but I have a feeling that probably wasn't the prophecy.
No,
I don't think the Targaryen prophecy was he will save us by killing one of us.
No. Also, Drogon took her body and left.
Right.
So, hey man, Jon got resurrected. Is all I'm saying. The magic exists. Mm-hmm. The magic exists.
It does. You're right. You're right. She better roll high on those D20.
The death saves. And Drogon is gonna become real big. He's still out there, and he's not enclosed in a dragon pit to stunt his growth. He's gonna become huge.
True.
And dragons can change their sex at will in order to procreate. He could change into a female dragon and lay eggs. So I think that the dragons definitely aren't over and done with. So
No. I think you're right.
Crazy. So anyway, I'm really excited for the next season. It was a great first season. They did a good job. Kind of trying to rebuild the hype for the franchise. So yeah, I think they did a good job.
I think so too.
Yeah. So I guess next week it'll be the first read along for Red Seas Under Red Skies. Super excited for that.
Me too. It's gonna be great.
So get to reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you had?
I do just want to shout out the actor for the series.
Patty, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
so good.
He stole the show.
So good.
He stole the show.
Him and
I also
Emma.
loved it.
I mean, really, all the casting was great. Matt Smith was obviously wonderful, but just like he had to go through such a transformation, Patty, that it's almost unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like all the different, like the way that he was slowly declining, and the way that he played that was just amazing. And
George R.R. Martin texted him or tweeted him or something and said, "Your Viserys is better than my Viserys."
Yeah.
Like,
high marks.
What a validating moment. Like,
yeah.
The original author of the source material liked your portrayal more than his. Well done.
Well done indeed.
Yeah. I'm sad that he's gone. I'm sad that we're not going to see more of him.
I know.
But alas, there'd be no conflict otherwise if he stayed alive. So
right.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Cool. So, I guess until next time, happy reading with the next Gentleman Bastards book. Looking forward to it. So we'll see you then.
Yeah. And we'll talk to you next time.
Later.
Bye.